Radio check. Looking for our wedgie. Radio check. KK4 our wedgie.
It's working. We're just starting a couple of minutes late.
Audio check, audio check.
Okay, we got everything online. All right. So, let's see. Jamie, I see you there. I see the YouTube stream is up. Okay, good deal. Rubén, ¿tú estás aquí? All right, I see. I hear no Ruben. I hear no Ruben, so let me shoot him a text real quick and make sure he gets on here.
You got it. Standing by KG4 OXO. We're live on YouTube. Everything connected, audio connected. Just standing by for the net.
All right, I just got confirmation. Ruben will be on here. All right. CQ. Welcome to the South Florida Latin Amateur Radio Club Weekly Net. Oh, hold on. I'm being interrupted by Cuban Coffee, and that's a worthy interruption. Thank you. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
KI4OTX checking in.
KI4OTX checking in. Look at that. I got a relay already. Would it be a Latin Amateur Radio Club without the cafecito, huh? All right, I am Robert, W4THM, and I'll be your net control for the evening. This is a directed net, which means all traffic should go through net control. We accept check-ins in English and Spanish. Either one is fine. As part of our weekly net, we're also incorporating a trader's net, so if you have any radio items for sale or are looking for anything, feel free to let us know when you check in. We are taking check-ins via RF on the Yaesu Fusion system on 443.300. We do have a D-Star setup on the air, 443.775, but we'll get Ruben on here a little bit later on to explain what's going on with that, and also 146.865 is running D-Star, but the range is kind of limited right now. There's some changes going on in the network. And we're also taking check-ins through YouTube. If you come in through YouTube, you could go on YouTube and look for KG4OXO on YouTube, KG4OXO. Look at the live stream, click on that, and you can get on there, and there's a chat box, and you can check in through YouTube if you want. And of course, there's the Zello check-ins. Let me let this drop. All right, so we're having some changes on the network. The 300 repeaters up and running as usual, but there's some changes being made because we're adding D-Star to the network. So we'll have Zello D-Star Fusion all interconnected, which will be kind of cool, different thing. And there's also the YSF room that people can come in from different areas. I want to start off with Ruben. Ruben, if you're on here listening, if you could please get on here, let us know what is going on with the D-Star side, the UHF, the VHF, any system updates, what is happening. Go ahead, Ruben, pick it up.
Okay, just want to check if you can hear me good. I'm using right now the D-Star system. Get back to you. So, okay, information zero for the champion control.
You're getting in, but don't leave too much delay between words because it dropped out. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if you're using a Vox setup or something. It dropped out momentarily, but otherwise you were fine.
I'm monitoring myself to. I'm monitoring myself to try to do any adjustment. Um, yeah, the system is running right now. On VHF, we are doing some tests, and we're still adjusting some audios and other things, so we're going to have a PDF available so people can program the radio and all of that. Right now the two models are running, VHF and UHF. I'm using right now the VHF D-Star from Homestead to 146A65. Nothing details, everything is doing good. But I will keep everybody posted as soon as I have the PDF and more information.
As soon as you have instructions set available, I will add it to the website. So that way people can go to the website if they need some kind of instructions to program their D-Star radio.
Okay, that's all I have. And as I say, I will keep everybody posted. Okay, and 4HYD.
All right, Ruben. Thank you for all you do. Ruben's the guy who keeps all of the radio stuff, all of the linking, everything up and running. So thank you for what you do there, Ruben. All right, let's go ahead and move into some check-ins. Let's see who we got. Well, we got KG4OXO out there. Jaime, anything for the net?
Yeah, good evening, Robert. No, just I guess you're gonna touch later on the outage, on the cell phone outage. So that has been, interesting comments around from people in reference to the outage of the on all the networks. But no, just running this just to come and I found my antenna analyzer, my antenna that I needed for field day. So that's a good news. So I can finally get some antennas up and running. But nope, just trying to continue improving this day by day. KG4 OXO.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be talking about the AT&T outage for sure. Absolutely. All right. Thank you for the check-in. Jamie's the guy who makes the live stream on YouTube happen, and also been instrumental in keeping the Zoom interface up and running when we do use it. We've stopped using it for a little while, but we will be using that again. It's just one of those things that we just wanted to prove we can do it, you know? All right, moving on. AG4JH. Do you have anything for the net? '55, wake up. Se nos perdió 55. All right, I just sent him a text message to wake him up. Who knows? Maybe he's taking a shower or something. All right, moving on down the list. Pedrito, I see you on there. Pedrito, you got anything for the net?
K4, YKK. No, I have nothing for the net. I'm just here listening.
All right, thank you for being there. I see Fruto's connected, but Fruto, I don't know. Fruto's kind of like a sandbagger, but we'll give it a try anyways. Fruto, ¿estás ahí? ¿Vas a hacer check-in en la red, Fruto?
Hey, good evening, Roberto. KJ4 Zulu, my India. Good evening, everybody. No traffic.
Fruto, ¿estás vendiendo algún equipo de radio o hay algo que estás buscando? No vaya a ser que haya alguien aquí que esté interesado o que lo tenga a la venta.
Tengo por ahí un 880 y tengo dos Kenwood para la venta.
Ah, okay, okay. He has two Kenwood radios for sale. Okay, what model? How much money?
Los dos Kenwood por ahí están ahí voy a dar como barato por 250 cada uno.
Okay, what model? What model number?
Espérate un momentito, Robertito.
All right, Fruto has two Kenwood radios for sale, so he is going to go get the model number and let us know what they are. By the way, while we wait, Jamie, go ahead and add a CLT onto the list there. He just checked in via text. He said he's in the middle of doing his taxes. What an unfortunate thing. But check him in. He relayed in.
Will do. FYI, I added Mike K4ABX. He checked via YouTube. He's a stucco work as well.
Fruto, ¿qué modelos son los radios?
Roberto, el modelo es TMB71, double bit.
Oh, okay, so Fruto has two TMV 71s for sale. So if anybody is interested, get in touch with Fruto. He's usually on the repeater throughout the day. Let's go ahead and take a break from the Zello check-ins for a minute. Let's see if there's anybody out there in RF land. Any check-ins via RF? Please come now.
Tengo el 880 también, Roberto. El 880 también por 2.5 lo doy.
Okay, I heard nothing on RF. So Fruto also has an 880 for sale for $250. If anybody's interested, contact Fruto. ZMI. He's on here throughout the day. All right, I heard nothing over on RF, so let's keep going down the list. Bullet, are you there? Are you checking in? Man, I got a bunch of sleepyheads here today, I tell you. Parece que el frío este tiene a la gente media dormida. All right, while we wait for Bullet to wake up, let's keep going down the list. Johnny Boy, are you there?
KO4 Tiki Dog for Station ID, Ocala, Florida. I'm late because I'm doing stuff, but I wanted to check in real quick.
Oye, ¿cómo está el frío en Ocala?
Right now it's 59 and it's gonna go to like 38. We've been getting 33s and stuff like that, so it's really, really cold. Hey, la luna está llena, so double cold.
No, y ahí donde tú estás, imagínate, ahí debe estar el frío buenísimo. Well, good to hear you out there. I see Arnie relayed in VVR, came for VVR. We got him down. And let me keep going down the list. Okay, good. The guy that I wanted to talk to, Mr. Arenza, KK4RYG. Are you there? And if so, I'm just curious, did the AT&T outage affect you in Alaska?
Heck no, it didn't affect me. Hi everybody, this is Kilo Kilo 4 Romeo Yankee Golf. The time here is 3:52 p.m. Alaska time, which is 7:52 p.m. there in Florida. Temperature up here is an average between 33 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on where you live. Yeah, you got it. We're hotter than you guys are. No, the outage didn't affect me one bit. I'm with Verizon. And even so, there are a couple of other phone companies here, and they just basically roam off of each other's signals. So for those people who lost their AT&T, their signals probably went over to Verizon or GCI, which stands for General Communications Incorporated. Not much is going on here. Just like I said before, studying for my extra exam, practicing my Morse code. I know about the burner, but I forgot the call sign, the bencher. I forgot the call sign of the person that had it. And I might get that 880 for 250, I don't know. Still trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this, because if I start traveling again, which I might, what's the use of having it if I'm not at home messing with it, you know what I mean? So back to you, Net Control. As always, thank you for having me, and 7-3, go ahead.
All right, man, thanks for checking in. And yeah, if you end up getting sent down here to South Florida, make sure and let us know. So, you know, we could put a face to the voice, you know. But good to have you in here. And now we come to the elephant in the room, the AT&T outage. For those that have been living in a box, there was a huge cell phone outage that started, I believe, sometime around 3:30 in the morning. And it was a really, really big deal. I didn't find out until almost 11, simply because I don't care if my phone is working or not. In fact, I rather it doesn't work. That way people don't bother me. So I found out because my wife got on here on Zello and asked me, you know, if I knew about the outage, and I was like, huh, what? So there was a huge AT&T outage, but it also affected some of the other carriers, not to the extent that AT&T, but according to what I saw on the news, on several news outlets, there were other carriers affected, but AT&T was affected the worst. And this was an interesting situation because we don't realize how much we rely on our cell phone. But my wife said that this morning, traffic was messed up because everybody was playing with their phone, trying to see why it didn't work. And then, of course, you had all the people that normally use Waze to get to work, you know, to reroute in case there's traffic or an accident or something. So all the Wazers were lost. So no Waze. Everybody messing around with their phone because they couldn't, you know, do this, that, or the other, and they're frustrated. So they think that by stabbing at the screen repeatedly, it's going to start working again. It caused quite a cluster. Now, interestingly enough, some of the other things like Zello worked fine, we were okay here on Zello. It did not affect internet service. Uh, at least nothing that I saw anywhere online where it affected internet service, unless, of course, you were tethering off of your phone. But it was interesting to see how people's lives got turned upside down because they had no cell phone service this morning. So this was a really good wake-up call, to show you just how dependent you are on that cell phone. For us, I mean, the Zello was working, the repeaters were working, all of our usual modes of communication were working, provided you were connected to the internet. But for other folks, everything just went, and it was a good reality check, let me tell you. Anybody got any interesting stories? I'm sure, Jamie, you must have some interesting stories about the sheer number of people calling 911. Their phone doesn't work? You got anything for us?
No, negative. Actually, it happened so early in the morning that by the time people woke up and realized something was going on, I was already in my bed. But it was very interesting, how some people that think that, we're geeks or nerds, or like CLT said, talking to UFOs, or we're crazy. We're all crazy until something happened, and then it's like, oh, where's that guy with the radios? Oh, what's going on? Oh, how does that work? So they can get some radios too, because it was an eerie situation to some people, at least, co-workers, that they couldn't contact their families, and they realized, how unprepared, they were for something to happen. Plus all the media hype with Russia, China, conspiracy theories, they didn't know what's going on, if it was a solar flare or what it was. So, oh, very interesting to say the least.
Yeah, there was people talking about solar flares, and it's like, no, that don't seem right because only one carrier was heavily affected. It should have affected everybody. And it seemed like nothing else got affected. It was only one thing. So, I checked around 6 o'clock or so. As of about 6 o'clock, the only thing out of AT&T's mouth was possible human error. But that's AT&T. So what about the other carriers? There were some there was a Verizon was affected nowhere near as bad as AT&T, but Verizon was affected. And I think T-Mobile. You got to go back and look at the news. It wasn't just AT&T. It's just they took the brunt of the hit, and they haven't come out yet and clearly stated what exactly happened. But this was an interesting learning experience, and let me tell you, if you have multiple phones in the house in this day and age, it makes sense to have a second phone on a different provider, even if it's, like a real basic phone. Because that's the situation that we had here. Everybody here was on AT&T. And my sister-in-law's home because she wasn't feeling well, and she's over there with my mother-in-law, and everybody's on AT&T. So they were completely excommunicated. A senior and an adult that wasn't feeling too well. So I had to go over there and take them a second phone that I have that's on a different provider, which that one worked fine. There was no problem. So it makes sense to have that second phone line through a different provider, just in case your main provider goes to crap. The other one still works. You still have another method, because, man, you can't do anything without it. I mean, us here, we can all talk to each other. We will find a way. I'm sure the GMRS guys were buzzing over there, with activity. We'll find a way to talk in the ham radio world, but for your average of family member, it's like, oh, my phone is broken. That's it. Their world has come to a standstill. No Ring. You can't see your Ring camera. You can't look at your house alarm. You can't play with your air conditioner. You can't use Waze. You can't stream videos. You can't. Your whole world stops. And we saw what that was like this morning with the traffic. Anybody else got something to add about this whole AT&T outage? Anything you want to bring up? Anything you want to talk about?
I do net control.
Go ahead.
Hi everybody, this is Kilo Kilo 4 Romeo Yankee Golf. Yeah, my friends were experiencing issues with AT&T and they asked me if I knew anything about it. I told them no. But yeah, a lot of us here in Alaska, we have landlines as well as the cell phones. You know, as long as I can breathe, I'm always going to have a landline that's separate from the cell phones. You know, because of what we know in amateur radio, there's no way I'm just going to have a cell phone as a form of communication. So that's just something I wanted to bring out. Back to you, KK4RYG.
Well, to put that into perspective, the whole landline thing, my mother's house was served by copper. Actually, when I worked in the central office for Bell South, I worked at the central office that served my mom's house. So when I would call and the phone was busy, I would just walk over to the wire frame and I'd take a butt set and connect onto the wire pair that fed my mom's house and be like, "Oye, te estoy llamando. Get out the phone." You know, you can't do that anymore. They recently forced her onto fiber because the phone companies are abandoning. They're abandoning copper everywhere. So even that's not sacred anymore because your fiber to your house is served by a remote data terminal that has a battery bank, but those batteries, you know, what are they going to last? At most 8 hours. At most. Maybe a lot less if they weren't maintained. So even the whole landline thing is no longer sacred, man. Anybody else got anything they want to add about the AT&T outage?
I'm back at KG4XO. Just to add that my service was out for maybe about an hour, but I got first net, so it came back. So even before I left work, I already had a cell phone line. My hotspot is also on FirstNet. Somebody called me from work later on today saying that they used my hotspot to make a conference call because their cell phone was still down. So, yeah, well, AT&T took the brunch. You know, at least they got FirstNet running kind of quickly. And like I said, we don't know what it is, man. And I don't think the companies will ever tell you if it was a hack or not. But, you know, our job is always to be ready, so we have to carry on doing our thing here in amateur radio.
Oh, that's interesting that even FirstNet took a whack for a little while. See, that right there is kind of scary because if the radio system goes down, that's what they're depending on is that FirstNet. So that very interesting. Yeah, AT&T is not going to admit to it, but if it is a hacker, you know that there's going to be a video on YouTube. You know, there's going to be something that pops up all over YouTube, and then they're going to have to explain their way out of it. You know that's coming. Well, we'll see. We'll keep our eyes on that because, I mean, I, for one, am very curious. Having worked for what turned into AT&T and having worked in central offices and having worked in a central office that actually served as a hub for other central offices, I I find it very interesting that somebody was able to take out so much. The whole thing of, oh, it was a user error. I don't know. I have my doubts, but let's wait and see. All right. Moving on, another little tidbit of information I want to throw out to you guys before we go. If you haven't been on the website recently, if you're into history, go over there and check it out. sflarc.org, South Florida Latin Amateur Radio Club.org. Go out there and check the website and go over to the picture posts. There's one that I put up recently has a picture of a QSL card on it. If you're into history, go check that out. Interesting tidbit of radio history that I put together. Not for us, this club is new, but it's history of the Dade Radio Club, which is the oldest running amateur radio club in South Florida. The Dade Radio Club actually goes back to before World War II. Under a different name, it was the Miami Amateur Radio Club. And then during World War II, they forced all hams to cease and desist because you were a problem to the security of the nation. So after World War II, they reinstated the right to transmit on amateur radio, and the club changed names to the Dade Radio Club. And there's a couple of tidbits of history there. Some interesting QSL cards that I found with, from different timelines with different logos and stuff like that. It's just cool radio history, So that's on the South Florida Latin Amateur Radio Club website. This is W4THM, your net control. And let's see if we have any more check-ins. Anybody else wanting to check in, please come now.
Oye, se acabó el party.
Buenas noches, muchachos. Trabajando, pero retorné para acá para hacer el check-in. No traffic, no nothing. A G4, JH.
All right, 55. Thank you for the check-in. Anybody else wanted to check in before we close the net? All right, nothing heard. So we're going to go ahead and close the net for tonight and return the repeater to its typical amateur abuse. This is W4THM closing the South Florida Latin Amateur Radio Club net for February 22nd, 2024. Thank you for being there. Thank you for checking in. Jamie, thank you for running the YouTube page.
Anytime. Disconnecting KG4 OXO.